Okay, Ari, you're back with me again, and today you sent me quite the interesting headline, and I thought maybe we could talk about it for a second, let everybody know what's going on. What did you find?
There was a robbery at a work site in Lancaster County, Pennsylvania. Apparently, there was a crew working on a new pipeline. They had demo equipment. They had some explosives. They had a trailer full of TNT, and when they left, they had a trailer full of TNT, which you need to blast your way to lay a pipeline. So they had a full trailer wherever they had left for work for the weekend. Monday morning, they found an empty trailer. Originally, they were reporting that they had lost 600 pounds of explosives. Now they've revised that to 704 pounds of explosives and 400 blasting caps.
Okay, so I don't know about you, but 1,000 things go through my mind. Number one, I looked at the link that you sent me, and it's on the WGAL website, which is a local news station up in Pennsylvania. And unfortunately, the picture on their website is pretty far from the work site, or at least where these explosives were stored. Either that or the ATF maybe is keeping people away and they couldn't get a closer picture at this point. But,
right.
I don't believe that work locations like construction are on the DHS 16 categories of critical infrastructure. But they're certainly on the ATF's mind. What are your initial thoughts here? I mean, obviously, we don't want to speculate what security measures were in place at this location, but these are concerns that the public has, that law enforcement has, and business owners and local community leaders have. What are the initial thoughts that you have about how someone who is responsible for a remote site, whether it's construction or power station or something like that, what kind of things are normally in place to prevent this kind of thing from happening? It looks like they had a security company either on site or responsible for being near the site, so that's good. Sure.
Well, worksite thefts are not uncommon. Generally speaking, these are sites that have high value items, tools, equipment, that kind of thing. They'll usually be very far removed from civilization. They'll be far away from any homes or businesses, so you can break in and not be noticed. Typically speaking, there won't be any power on the site, or there won't be any kind of internet infrastructure or telephone infrastructure. So it's very difficult, generally speaking, to secure these kinds of sites. Usually what people will do is rely on old-fashioned physical security measures, like keeping valuables locked in a cage, locked in a work box, a job box of some kind, or if you have enough equipment, you can actually rent a trailer, which is what they did here, and then lock it with a big padlock, and then hope nobody comes and robs the place overnight or over the weekend. Sometimes you'll have contracted security. You'll have guards patrolling on a regular basis. But in a case like this, where you've got lots of equipment and everything's very spread out, you might have time when you don't have any kind of security patrol at all, or you'll have an irregular patrol. Somebody will come and check every hour, every 2 hours, every 4 hours, what have you. Generally speaking, this is very remote, these kinds of sites, so they can get very boring. Nothing ever happens. There's no people. There's nothing to see. So I'm not saying that this is what happened here. I'm saying that, generally speaking, these sites are the worst kinds of sites to guard because nothing ever happens on them.
Nothing. You certainly don't expect anything to happen. They're quite remote, like you said. So when we think about securing these sites, you mentioned these guards, roving patrols. Perhaps they have, if it's remote, they might have limited access to the site for vehicles and things like that. So perhaps They might park their patrol vehicle or something like that right there. But, you know, we could be talking about sites that have the opportunity to put up higher levels of protection. Maybe it's a remote site, but it's always there. It's not just a construction site. And what comes to my mind is fences. So, you know, you can put up a fence. What comes to your mind as far as protecting that fence perimeter?
So generally speaking, you're going to want to have a fence at least 7 feet tall to make it difficult to scale. If you can put razor wire or barbed wire on top of the fence, that would make things a lot more difficult for your intruder to get in. But of course, a fence in a remote site like this, anybody can get past it because they can work unnoticed for as long as they want to. So if they take 10, 15, 20 minutes to cut their way past the fence, nobody's going to notice that, and nobody's going to notice a hole in the fence until well after a robbery occurs.
So I'm thinking about electronic measures to help with this situation. What comes to mind is Southwest Microwave that has very easy to deploy fence detection systems. So, you know, these detect disturbances, very isolated disturbances, 1 or 2 or 10 disturbances along a fence line. That could be climbing it, cutting it, or otherwise maybe running into it with a vehicle at a opposite corner from where security is normally stationed. And, you know, that could set off an alert attached to an intrusion detection system that sends a message out to a central monitoring station, perhaps to the guard that's actually there via text message or something like that. So there are some pretty, I don't want to say basic ways. That I think this goes a little bit beyond basic, but depending on what the risk is, that might be a standard solution for certain kinds of applications, right?
Absolutely. Anytime you have a sensitive site like this where you have something high value on the site that somebody's going to want to steal, you want to protect it. Generally speaking, the biggest concern or the biggest challenge in securing a site like this is the fact that it's remote. There's no way to send a signal. Bosch intrusion detection systems have the ability to transmit signals on cellular only. Generally speaking, you'll have a trailer that's powered. The trailer will function as the focal point of the construction. You'll keep plans there. You'll have a bathroom there. You'll be able to take breaks there. Your project manager will work out of a trailer that has power, either power tapped off from the closest node or maybe even solar power. You can put a panel there. You can connect cellular module to the alarm panel in that trailer, and then you can monitor your equipment. You can monitor any storage trailers, storage sheds, what have you, wirelessly through either the Bosch Radion wireless system, or if you are going to be monitoring trailers or equipment that's far removed from the panel, you would want to monitor those with an Innovotics wireless system. And that allows you to send any kind of signals to a central station using a cellular module. It also allows you to send messages, text messages or emails to security officers, to police, to project managers, to any responsible parties.
So once again, we're back to integrated systems. Everybody seems to talk about integrated systems, but I think the first step is getting a good site survey, doing a risk analysis, getting a vulnerability assessment done. There's a lot of pre-deployment and pre-purchasing that goes into this. So we talked about a fence detection system. There are ones actually, now that I think about it, that are portable even, so or small kits. So the type of site that you have, these systems can be accommodated or adapted to fit different applications. The other thing that I think about is video surveillance. And in this kind of an example, remote site out in the country, not a lot of lighting, the odds of somebody jumping that fence, you know, at noon are pretty slim. So I'm thinking about nighttime, low light, bad weather, things like this, where somebody might come over the fence, or sneak by when the guard's not at the front gate, or whatever the case is. Now I'm thinking about who's there to watch the cameras. Can the cameras do some? Do they have some smarts on their own? Maybe you can touch on some of those things.
What I always like to recommend in a situation like this is connecting the camera system to the intrusion detection system. Bosch allows you to connect everything with. Bosch allows you to connect all your systems and have one integrated solution. For example, you could have a camera at the trailer, power it with a solar panel, and then get a snapshot whenever anybody opens that trailer. So if you had explosives, or if you had some kind of equipment that's locked in a trailer, you would want to know when somebody's coming into the trailer, who's coming into that trailer. So you could put a contact on the doors of the trailer, put a camera inside the trailer, and then get a snapshot. You can even do that through the cellular service. The problem with viewing cameras on a site like this is lack of internet or lack of any kind of connection because it is so remote. But getting video verification, getting a video snapshot of any kind of disturbance or a rule violation or a door entry, a door closing, that is going to enhance your guard service. That'll allow you to have an extra level of protection.
Okay, so that makes sense. I hadn't even thought about a specific camera for let's call it a safe zone within the perimeter, a trailer like you described, or some valuable enclosure or an item. So that's a great idea. I'm thinking also about the perimeter. If let's just say this is a permanent site rather than a temporary site or something that's changing all the time, like construction. You could line the perimeter of this site as big or small as you need, with as many cameras as you need, that could sense when someone is loitering near the fence, has gone over the fence, and those cameras can create alerts that tie back to that same intrusion detection system, which could create a snapshot also to go along with it. So I think, we're going to probably speculate a lot about this particular incident. Hopefully a lot of facts are going to come out that'll help other people mitigate this risk, help communities be a little bit safer, help the ATF solve some crimes or prevent the crimes and prevent the ATF from even becoming involved. I'm sure the Department of Homeland Security is going to be involved in this one. 700 pounds of explosive with 400 blasting caps is no joke, and there can be a lot of damage. So
the thing I just want people to take away from this is remote site security is a very niche topic. A lot of our integrators don't necessarily have a lot of experience in it, or don't do this kind of thing a lot. So if you do come across an opportunity like this, you definitely want an expert to come help you out, walk the site with you, help you design the system, let you know about the possibilities, maybe possibilities you didn't even know about, and then try to figure out a solution that'll work for that particular site.
All right. And as always, we're reachable at support@midchest.com. And just Google us, connect with us on Facebook, whatever it takes. We're here to help.
Absolutely.
All right. Thank you very much.
Thanks, Matt.